Peace and blessings, everybody. Sitting bull. Some of this dark reality coming at you. I just want to speak about interesting topic today. Actually, it's a part two. I want to speak up on white supremacists. I don't feel like I actually explored that topic a lot more than what I actually thought I was. But I just want to dive right into it. I haven't heard any response from it. And the first thing I do want to say is I do not count out brutality that we have suffered. The suffrage that we go through on a daily basis. I will never ignore those things. I can never act like none of those things have been in existence. And the passion that I have for humanity to live, to express my freedom, my thoughts, to able to not be dictated on how my education and my living conditions and my food are regulated. I strive to be a natural born soul, but I can't dictate how I was born. And that's the blessing of who I am today. But dive back into white supremacists. As I stated before, I do not believe in it. Of course, there's other terminologies for it. But white supremacists, I do not believe in it. The only way it could be relevant, if we make it relevant, we give it action, we give it existence. That's the only way that it could survive. Without that, it will never survive. And I would like to encourage all of our people to stick together, do what we need to do, even though we have differences, different thoughts, different opinions, different ways of living. But we need to come up to a mutual agreement where we actually can have a civilized nation. Dual citizenship is very, very possible, only if we can regulate things. Can't take things to an international level until we begin locally. And I just feel like it's that time for us to start being on that level. And I was just speaking on why I do not think white supremacists exist. Nothing exists without a fight. And that's what we have to do. We have to give everything a fight that we're striving for. Yes. And it is a lot of hating ass, European, jealous men, even women, that's caught in their ways living off their man, have that perspective a lot of times. But a lot of men, they insecure and they jealous of the male, the indigenous male figure. We've been doing these things with adjectives and things like that. So with the black, if I do describe it being a scientific term, if I do describe myself black, it just because dark matter doesn't represent an adjective, only the color black does. But every color derives from black, so look at it in that aspect also. But until we get to the point where we could create a nation, I'll remain and call myself black instead of African American, But we have to look at the importance of what we're going through. Look at all the real important leaders. First of all, Fred Hampton. Huey Newton. Just go on and on and on and on and on and on about the list. It make me feel some type of way personally. Me is just not a lecture. I do look at the Black Panther Party and I identify myself as identical to their movements, but the only thing, I'm doing things on an individual level. Need help, need support. I feed, clothe, and I try to do a lot of responsible things for the neighborhoods. You know, I represent all powers of people, all nationalities. You know, I just don't commit myself to being there, to being just for the black race. Um, we struggle the most, so I give us the most attention. I do, but we can't do this fight alone, all together as a mass of people. And white supremacists will never be important just because they need our existence to be alive. And what I mean by that, not saying for the white people to live or anything like that. I'm talking about the mental conditions of the psychology of slavery. They need our true best abilities and our discipline and shut the fuck up and listen to the boss man, to take pride. So if none of them things wasn't in existence, they won't happen in that way. You ever, you know, they're just like, if we look at Michael Jordan and he just turn around the whole Nike contract and say, I'm just coming out with MJ, no more Nike affiliation, no nothing, you know. Do you think he gonna produce the same amount of money? Yes, he will. But do you think it's a fear that's set in him of accountability that have no regards to our situations as a public matter? Behind people spend so much money and die behind a pair of Michael Jordans. Do you think he care about his input? And that's just not really just talking about Jordan specifically. We talking about people that has the duties and the obligations to serve the masses of people, or represent the masses of people, but do it so incorrectly. We talking about sports players, we talk about book writers, we talk about doctors, we talk about philosophers, we talking about local, you know, boys and girls clubs and, you know, and urban leagues and in a full force. I mean, so we have to look at things from a higher perspective and say, they do not have control. And a lot of people say, well, this video don't have nothing to do with white supremacy. Yes, it does. A lot. The reason that I'm being expressing things in this term instead of being vulgar, disrespectful, or hatred, or trying to blame another race for our beings, because this is not the 60s. This is not the 50s. This is not the 70s. Look how many brothers lost their life, man. I could watch some of the documentary and damn near cry, man, because it's serious. Look how many brothers lost their life over us. We think about Martin Luther King. It's 100 times deeper than him. We have revolutionary brothers every day, like me and you, dying. We didn't only try to civilize ourselves as people. We was for the people of poor, the people of no voice, people that have no socialism mentality to express their needs in life. We for all that. And the way that we dumbing ourselves down and the way that we could accomplish the goals that they try to accomplish today, knowing that it's self-destruction more than a demographical destruction. We gave them the leeway to our own destruction. And look how many parties that actually was involved with the Black Panthers. Look how many political movements. Look how many directors, actors, people that just wanted to be involved in the reality and survival because they family members, they all going through it. And the impact that we sent, being gagged and all this other stuff in the courtroom, then it just seemed like we gagging ourselves nowadays without actually having the gag, the tape over our mouth. It's deep. And I think that we need to understand the principles in life that we going through right now. You got to understand, we have a better opportunity than the brothers did back in the 60s and the 70s that died for their lives, that sacrificed themselves and put their lives on the line. For who? For us. For me, you, the people who think this is irrelevant of the situations I'm talking about. We have the chance to dual citizenship. We have the chance for international laws to be delegated. We have the power to move so much in so many beautiful ways of coming out of an impression, but we sleeping. Brothers from the 60s and the 70s will love to have this opportunity today. We ignore them today. We don't listen to them. We listen to ourselves. We so eager to get some goddamn where, but we going nowhere. We so eager for a new pair of shoes, money in your pockets or whatever, but you don't invest it correctly. You eager to have your shoes, talking about you want the best for your child, but don't give them the best. Materialistic things is not the best. Education. Farming. Learning survival, as I should say. It's just so many different things that we could teach the children. We could teach the world. And I feel that we put this white supremacist on top to control our way of thinking. Them brothers back then, they went to the Capitol buildings with guns. They told police what they can and can't do in their neighborhoods. They learned the Constitution. They bought defense teams. They fed the neighborhoods. They built communities. They had, medical centers. Just imagine if we had that today in the neighborhood. Beautiful. We'd be able to sky's the limit with it. We got so much worldly attention around here. We could do whatever we want to at this point in time. Doing things on the individual. A lot of brothers go out like, Huey did. Fred, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Trying to do things on an individual basis today. That's how white supremacists will always stay in existence, if y'all want to call it that, because we give them the power, we give them the opportunity to stay in existence, because we want to stay in the middle of their tragics. We want to stay in the middle of nonsense, chaos. We represent nonsense, chaos, until we get our mind frames together to raise our children correctly, appropriately, not love your neighbor, but show their children a positive example to make them know you're not that enemy that they look in the mirror and see when they look at you. In a lot of aspects, we need to understand that we only bring things to existence. White supremacists is not a threat. They not a factor. Because no matter what, we will always live. We will always continue on. And I'm not just talking about the people on my melon. I'm talking about the culture of being oppressed for hundreds of years. The oppressed culture of people. And that just don't identify my melon. Especially in today's time. Especially don't identify my race. This battle is bigger than race. And as long as we stuck on race, we'll never get anywhere. If we diversify ourselves to being who we were yesterday, we'll be much more ahead. And I look at the Black Panther Party as one of my key motivations in my everyday life. We have to look at the sacrifice that the brothers and sisters, look at the organizations, look at the love, look at the treatments, look at the responsibilities. We don't see that in us today, but it's still installed in us. We're comfortable, and we need to get up out of that comfortability. If not, then it will be a such thing as a white supremacist government in a world order, because